Hi, how's it going?
Hello there, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Trace, Julie.
Katie Abrams. Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Good to meet you. So tell me a little bit about your research.
Well, I think that first I'd like to tell you, first of all, why we did this study, the need for this study. And I think that you would know that Extension is trying to reach out to non-traditional audiences, the non-traditional clientele. And they've discovered that one way to potentially do that here in the state of Florida to create the public value for the extension programs here at the University of Florida is through topics related to home horticulture or lawn and landscape care at your home. And so what the University of Florida Cooperative Extension Service ended up doing is they developed a radio program that they called Gardening in a Minute. And what it essentially is a 1-minute radio broadcast program that they air on the radio every day at certain times of the day. And what they wanted to find out with this specific research was, what are people's reactions, what are their perceptions to this radio program, and then also, what are their reactions and attitudes toward the companion website that goes along with this 1-minute radio program about home horticulture. And the theoretical framework that we worked with, that we kind of helped, that we used to help build the need for our study, is called Integrating Marketing Communications. And the Integrating Marketing Communications literature basically says that you want to ensure that you have a clear and consistent message, a clear brand across all different types of communication materials, because oftentimes one communication medium isn't going to reach your variety of intended audiences. And if you know anything about Extension, you know that Extension has a huge audience to serve. In Florida, it would be every single Floridian, and that's a wide variety of people. So using that theoretical framework, we ultimately decided, since we were looking for people's reactions to the radio program and to the companion website, we decided to conduct some focus group where we can get some rich group interaction and also to elicit their perceptions more openly rather than through a structured survey questionnaire. So what we did was 2 focus groups consisting of about 19 participants. And these 19 participants were recruited by an external research firm to join our focus groups, and they were compensated a little bit of money for participating. Let me tell you what we found in our study, and I'll kind of point out here, what you'll see on my poster here is we have our research objectives. We had 4 research objectives. These are the participants' comments, the direct evidence pertaining to the research objectives, and these are the conclusions that we came to, and I'll get to the recommendations after I discuss the findings and conclusions. So looking at our first objective, we when we had these group of people in the room, we wanted to discover their listening habits of the radio channel that it was going to be on, and it's going to be on NPR, National Public Radio. And what we found there is that most participants reported that they listen to NPR radio while they're driving, either in the morning on the way to work or on the way home from work in the evening. The second research objective was to describe participants' awareness of radio program sponsorship, because if you remember, we're trying to see, trying to kind of create some more public value for extension programming in the state of Florida. So when you hear those sponsorships, that this radio program is sponsored by the University of Florida Cooperative Extension, do they listen to that? Does that make a difference? And what we found was that sometimes people pay attention to it, but they definitely perk up when they hear the University of Florida. That's something that's really important to them, and that actually increases the attention and the amount of attention that they're going to give to that radio program. The third objective was to gather participants' reactions to the radio program. One of the key things that came up throughout the focus groups was that the participants said that the information was good, but really basic. It wasn't giving them enough information to actually go home and do anything in their own yard or their own landscape. So they wanted just a little bit more information in the program. So they suggested narrowing the topics down so that you could provide a little bit more detailed information. Another key theme that we found looking at that objective, the reactions to the radio program, was negative reactions to the radio host voice. So Extension, we don't have oodles of money to be spending for trained radio broadcasters to be producing this program, so we just had an extension agent who's an expert but doesn't have that soothing radio voice that people like to hear. So people were kind of getting hung up more so on the host's voice rather than paying attention to the information. So that's something that this particular radio program definitely was going to need to address. And finally, they said that the pace of the show, again, needs to be a little bit slower and more narrowed in on a very specific topic. So it needs to be detailed, the host needs some training, and the show needs to be on a very specific topic at a slower pace. Finally, we showed them the program's companion website to get their reactions to that. They really found it very useful. They found the overall look appealing, and they said, I wasn't getting enough information in the radio program, but I'm getting it here from the website. So this is good. We need this website. And they suggested that a few things be reorganized to be a little bit more clear. So based on this study, we have a few recommendations for the people producing this program. They were to, first of all, as I said before, the findings, people kind of perked their ears up when they heard the University of Florida. So it's important when you're announcing the sponsorship of an extension-produced radio program that you mention that the university that it is associated with. The website is useful and in these participants' minds a necessary tool in order to provide more extensive information about the topics that are covered on the show. And so it's important to have that companion website for these types of programs because they are so short. And finally, it was very clear that this radio host, even though they're an expert in the field of home horticulture, is going to need some training. And so we recommend some training for the radio host so that they develop more of that radio voice that people are looking for. And finally, given the positive reactions overall to an extension-produced radio program and the companion website, it is recommended that Extension use public radio to reach out and create that public value for the cooperative extension system. And that's about it. Do you have any questions?